Warcraft 2 change.
Yeah.
But folks, welcome back. Game number 2 currently underway. It's a best of 3. It's the first best of 3 of the Legacy of the OlimoLeague. Again, I want to give a big thank you. While the OlimoLeague itself has its Patreons, we have our subscribers, and thanks to all of you folks, we're able to put on this tournament. We're putting $100 towards the OlimoLeague every single weekend to get this second tournament. A big thank you to Olivia for volunteering her time. We as well obviously are casting this for free, and well, thank you guys for watching and allowing us to continue to do cool things like this. But spawning here in the bottom left corner of the map, he had a very nice defense in game number 1. It's going to be the red Terran player, Miso.
On the top right, as the purple Protoss, it's Neeb.
So right now, between the show match we saw earlier, the cast in the Lycan League, what we've played ourselves in Archon mode, and even just now, I think it's pretty universally agreed that Protoss is in a bit of a weird spot. But I almost feel like this is on... I'm not saying like Protoss isn't weak. This is not something I'm trying to get around saying, but I think a lot of this also is contributed by the fact that we see a lot of Protoss players doing kind of old school standard stuff when there's a lot of new toys in play. You know, a Blink Stalker all in. Oh, is this 2013? Like, it's hard. It's Legacy of the Void. There's so many more cool things you can do. He opened with the Adepts. He got some pretty good damage done. If you expanded behind that, you know, there's a lot of different ways that could have gone. So to look at that first game and be like, well, Terran's still pretty good. I mean, we didn't really see Cyclones or Widow Mines or any of that bullshit, right? It was just Blink Stalkers losing it out.
Yeah, that first game certainly was not something to say anything about the new... That wouldn't help at all. Like, if David Kim asked us to replay Sen, highlighting what's wrong or what's good, definitely wouldn't send him that one, right? But it's, you know, it doesn't disregard the fact that it's kind of similar to... I think for the Protoss players, and maybe even some Terran players against Zerg, because Zerg seems to be the king right now, is that they're doing these things not because they're boring. I assure you that they want to try the new units. It's that they feel that they're forced to. So Blink Stalker all-ins, Immortal all-ins, whatever, the Gateway all-ins, I guess, again, like, they just feel like they have to do it because something else is working.
I definitely agree that to an extent that's probably the mindset of a lot of the players. There's also the fact that some of these guys have not just actively gone out of their way to try new things. Immediately coming to my mind is State. You know, we were hanging out in State stream that one night, like night 1 of the beta, and first thing I asked him, like, have you tried any of the units? He said, no, I just hopped on and started trying to win. So, like, he's got like this terrible ZVP, he can't get anything done. It's because he's still trying to use Immortals and Colossus, and it was just... Players are going to have to adapt, is the thing. And it's kind of interesting that with the Colossus nerf, we're seeing just how dependent Protoss was on that one unit throughout matches, you know? A lot of focus was on the Sentry, but psych, it was really the Colossus apparently all along.
Yeah, that's true. There was a lot of focus on the Sentry. The Colossus has just become something that, you know, it was an addition. It's not very exciting, but it was a staple of Protoss that we did focus back on, for instance, Warp Gate. And Force Fields being a little BS, but it turns out Colossus was pretty important. Now, I do have... Yes, or not the Oracle, the Adepts, that's the word, killing the Marines, and potentially an Oracle on the way to Stargate.
The Adept itself is pretty cool. Again, the slow attack speed is probably his greatest weakness right now. It just attacks way too slow to be used, so I don't know why he's targeting the SCV instead of the Marines.
Yeah.
That was a big mistake.
Yeah. I mean, again, though, these are things that the depth is so cool that it just needs tweaks. It certainly can find a place, I feel, anyways. But there are just a lot of problems with Protoss that are probably going to be highlighted in the next few minutes, as we do have Cyclones on the way. Now, the Stargate opener is important because you get into Phoenixes, and that seems to be the best way that people have dealt with this Cyclone so far.
Yeah, 2 Stalkers and 1 Graviton Beam seem to be beating out even Mass Phoenix. But the Phoenix itself, or not Phoenix, pardon me, the Oracle itself has got some pretty cool potential. On one hand, maybe it goes across the map and kills a couple of workers. And if it does, yeah.
There's no point in sending the stupid shadow out.
Maybe to chase it. So it looks like he's going to go across the map with this. The problem is, though, and here's the cool thing about Terran, guys, you actually don't need the engineering bay for the turrets anymore. So already turrets are coming down, but furthermore, if the Oracle realizes very quickly, hey, I can't get anything done, you can start laying stasis traps down. You can sort of build up this weird static temporary defense. We saw a good example used of this by Puck in that show match we just threw. But the Cyclone, if it gets a lock on, that Oracle is going to go down. It's so hard to outrun these things.
Yeah.
Even Mewtwo struggle too. It's ridiculous.
Miso, I guess, is going to wait for maybe one more Cyclone, that one's popping out, maybe a second one, and then do some damage. Or he might be assuming that Phoenix has already been made, which is fair, actually. These are very good additions to Bio initially anyways. And really, I mean, they went Phoenixes, so you're not going to drop, so, you know, you don't have to worry about the Cyclones keeping up if you're not going to drop anyways. That, Xenosator showed us that the frontal push can be just as strong.
Man, okay, so here's my beef with the Adept, right? It's got that really cool Shockwave ability. It comes on Twilight, counts attack, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It has a shield on its arm. Why is it not a more defensive unit? It's the only unit in the game next to Helmet that actually has shields.
That's a good question. It is the coolest model that Blizzard put out. I
agree. I really like it.
It's so cool. It actually kind of, I don't know, it actually feels a little out of place. Maybe just because it's brand new. And the Zealot's the only other equivalent, a humanoid type thing. Just the female Zealot.
I'm really curious what the explanation of it's going to be. In Hearth's Forum to explain, Vipers, they actually evolved from mutas in the campaign, right?
It's probably going to be something like the carrier or the mothership chick is also actually, that's her and,
Well, I mean, there's spoiler alert here, guys. A whole race that the Protoss are going to find in the story. There's the fact that a lot of these Zealots are getting awakened, and for the first time in thousands of years, on the Spear of Adun and all this. I'm really curious where the Adept's going to fall into. Oh, where were they hiding all along? We didn't have them.
That's how they explained Colossus. What's his name? Zeratul went back, and they're like, Colossus. Oh, I remember these guys. They walked out of the water, and you're like, well, oh, okay.
Oops. Alright, this attack coming is going to be a little bit hard to hold off. He does Graviton Beam both the Cyclones. He crowd controls them out of the field. This is a really good move in my opinion, but the Oracle does ultimately die, so no more status fields, no more status traps. And the Bio is going to maybe get picked off if the Phoenix want to maneuver in here. It's not that much energy, though. But Colossus are coming.
Yeah, again, trying to use the staple of Protoss that's just not really that powerful anymore. Unfortunately, the Marauder nerf didn't really affect how they deal with Colossus.
I do feel, though, and quite strongly, that the Colossus are going to have a role in the match. Even if they stay as nerfed as they are right now, unlike the Disruptor, they're not like a one-shot wonder. It's constant damage behind the lines. Maybe they should make them cheaper if they plan to keep them nerfed like this. I don't know, but the point is, for those who don't know, Colossus they took a 20% damage nerf. Look at this. With +1 weapon upgrades, 13 damage. What the hell? And they took a 1 range loss on extended thermal lines. So they're not the greatest units right now.
Yeah.
But they're still better than having Zealots. They're still better than having just Stalkers.
I wonder if that would be a good exchange, extended thermal lines either isn't needed because they were nerfed that much, so it comes with 8s, save some gas, or the extended thermal lens actually is not extended thermal, but increased thermal, so it increases the 20% gap.
Ooh.
Because that upgrade, I don't know, it feels so useless now. Yeah, you're a little better.
It's kind of like a wet noodle no matter what you do, but I'm hoping to see them. I love the Disruptor so much. The Disruptor did what I think the Widowmine couldn't. The Widowmine kind of sometimes gets a cool shot, and in retrospect, you're like, oh, that was a cool shot. But the Disruptor really gives you that lead up, that oh, it's getting close, they're gonna split. Yeah. It's exciting to watch.
Yeah, I would really hope that honestly, the Colossus could not be in the game for all I really care, if they could make it work. But the Disruptor, I really feel like they should just decrease the cooldown, for instance, make it faster out of the invulnerable form. Because everyone thought it was going to be an A-move unit, and everyone's proving that it really isn't. It's actually quite entertaining.
Well, guys, I'm being called out for my Silver League tactics in chat. Forgetting combat shields. Yes, that's another thing that's shields in the game. Luckily, I can't say I've ever lost the game where I legitimately forgot combat shields. We've seen it happen, though.
I do it all the time in TVT. One of my opponents actually told me to make combat shields. He was so frustrated.
The one thing, if anything I forget, it's actually concussor shells. I rarely forget to stem with the combat shields, though. I'm very adamant on my Marines looking cool, okay?
Okay. Well, this is, I don't want to say it's all in, right? Because it's on 3 bases, but recall that, at 9 minutes, it's already kind of on 2.
Kind of feels like it might be, though. The Colossus beams are going to go down. Force fields, oh, one more would have been so sweet. Comes in a little bit late. Viking's going to chase into this, but there's a lot of Phoenix and there's a lot of Stalkers. He can't overextend past his ramp.
Yes, I don't know if this is on purpose, but he does start Blink Up now. But he got charge first, and he has more Stalkers than he does have charge lots. That's a little odd.
I kind of like that, though. I mean, charge gives the Zealots a small innate speed boost, but also lets them connect. But yo, you were talking about all-in Zombie Grub.
Okay, well, this is definitely a little unnecessary, to be honest, but it is probably going to win the game.
I think if you already mined out, what else are you going to do with those SCVs? Am I right?
Well, the Terran can just lift, so we get a pass on that one.
Okay, look at you. Storm not quite going to be in time for this. The Teleport is only just now finishing up, so maybe an Archon or two to help buffer for the army. This is where I think Charge is going to feel more effective as well. But those force fields, those force fields are going to be so critical to this fight.
Yeah.
Miso is coming in hard. He's coming in hot. He's got everything here on the front lines. STV's spreading. Wow. Okay, pulling the boys micro. That's a first. Time Warp is huge. It takes forever to actually deploy, but as we see, it's going to actually case produce the whole army. Oh, Zealot's warping directly in the front lines. A little bit scary because they take that bonus damage while warping in, but Miso was going for the Nexus. Perhaps a bit of a mistake. Vikings do fall, but they take out most of the Colossus. I think, though, Kendrick, a.k.a. Neeb, might be able to get us with a couple more Warpins, a couple more Zealots. That Colossus at the back still firing away, and the Stalkers, they don't have Blink, but they're still trading out pretty damn well.
Yeah, it looks like you're opening everything up.
Oh,
There's
wonderful.
a small force coming up for reinforcements, but that's for the factory.
Nope. Psych, it's a
Very
building.
small.
All right, congratulations, Neeb. He'll tie up the Series 1-1. Well played. We're going to take this opportunity